Yesterday we covered two core ideas, and the first is finding an idea. And so we covered sort of high level the two different approaches that you can take to finding an idea. And we also talked about interviewing customers and interviewing customers like properly. So not just listening to what we want to hear, but feeling for the sort of insights that could really help us go in the right direction and when it comes time to actually build the product. So the next order of business is actually getting paid, because you're not much of a business if you're not getting paid. Probably be a non-profit. All right. The worst type are the voluntary non-profits, where you're trying to make a profit, but things just aren't working out. And so to avoid that outcome, we have to get paid. And in order to get paid, we actually need to have a product. So people don't generally pay for stuff unless they're getting something in return. And so we need to have some sort of product, something that we can give them in exchange. And so that's a prototype. We're going to be spending all of today, for the next hour and a half, 2 hours, just talking about prototypes and how we can convert our idea, which we started off with, into a prototype, something that we can actually share with people. So the prototype is the least thing that we can give customers so they're happy to pay us. The least thing. And it's deliberately vague. So I don't say anything specific. Like I don't say the least piece of technology. I just say the least thing, because you'll see why in just a second when it comes time to actually start the next step in our process. And so the steps are pretty straightforward. One, you need to figure out what it is that customers are willing to pay you for. And then two, you deliver it in the quickest, easiest way possible, okay? Pretty straightforward. Figure out what it is that customers are willing to pay you for, and then deliver it to them in the quickest way possible. Because sure, sometimes there are a ton of questions around this, which is, how do you decide what is enough in terms of a product? And we're going to take an example in just a second. So the third order of business after the first two steps, the first being getting an idea, and the second being actually interviewing to see if it's a real problem or a fake problem. The third step is boiling it down, right? So you have an idea, and you have a grand idea. There's a ton of features. It's going to look amazing, but come back to this point that we have over here, which is deliver it in the quickest, easiest way possible, not the most complete. So there's always going to be time to make the most complete version of your idea. But starting off, you want to make sure that you start with something quick, something easy, and something that you can deliver within a relatively short period of time. So that's what boiling it down is all about. Giving customers whatever it is that they would be happy to pay for in the quickest way possible. This all sounds great, but let's take an actual example. So again, just to really drive the point home, because this is so important. This is going to be like your North Star when you're thinking about, okay, is what I'm building enough, or is it not enough? Okay, so what's the minimum you need to build to get paid? That's it. That's what you're going to build for now. Okay, so let's take an example. Uber. Now, Uber is a pretty complicated idea, right? We're thinking about Uber today. There's a ton of features. They have multiple apps, one for each operating system. They have instant bookings, great UX design, low prices. They have surge pricing, a web dashboard, an iOS driver app. Oh, and they have an Android driver app. And there's so many other features that I haven't included here. And so it's easy to look at Uber and kind of get this expectation in your head. And okay, if I was trying to compete with Uber, or if I was trying to build Uber, this is what I would need from the get-go. But what we're trying to figure out is how can we boil it down into the core principle? Like what is the least we need to do in order to deliver value to customers, in order for them to pay us. And so we're going to talk about Uber in a second, but I want to ask, does anyone actually know how Uber started off? Like what was their initial version, like the earliest version of Uber? How did, in the first month from the time they actually launched, what did it look like? What did Uber look like? Does anyone want to venture a guess?
I have no idea.
Just oh, was it an app, website maybe?
I would say an app with one car.
An app with one car, okay. So there's actually no app. When Uber started, there was absolutely no app. They started off with just this, SMS. Uber started off with SMS. Essentially, if you wanted someone to pick you up from where you were, you would send an SMS to Travis. Travis is the founder of Uber. You'd send him an SMS. You'd say, hey, can you pick me up from blah, blah, blah. And then he'd send someone to come and pick you up, drop you off wherever you needed to go. And you would pay him right then and there. That's it. No app, no Android apps, no driver apps, no fleet of cars, no surge pricing, none of that. They started off with doing hundreds of bookings. Before they thought, okay, you know what, maybe we need to have something a bit more scalable. But at that point, you kind of, it's less risky. You're not spending a lot of time building something and then not knowing if people are going to use it or not use it when it's finally deployed. So I want you to keep this in mind. When Uber started off, the core value proposition was we get you from one place to another really quickly. And you know what? Turns out people are okay with doing that over SMS, at least initially. It's not like the magical experience that you have today of just walking in a car and then getting out. But it does deliver on that value proposition. The core value is they get you from one place to another, and they were able to do that without an app. And so I want you to keep this in mind as you're thinking about your ideas, is what is the minimum version that I need to have? How can I boil it down, boil down this grand idea into something that I can get out really quickly and start getting feedback from customers and hopefully get them to pay me for it. So now what I'd like to do is I want to take a couple of volunteers. Let's do three volunteers. Give me your idea, either the idea that you had yesterday or one that you thought of overnight and you thought, hey, this is something that I want to potentially pursue. Give me an idea and let's talk about it. Let's try and figure out together what the minimum version of that idea would be, the minimum that you would need to build in order to get paid. So let's get some volunteers. You can either unmute yourself and just start speaking, or if you want to raise your hand, that's okay too. I mean, like, raise your hand in the app. There's a hand raising option somewhere in the bottom right.
Hi, I don't mind volunteering.
Great. Your name?
Pujita.
Hi, Pajita.
Hi.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so I believe this idea was run by 2 or 3 people yesterday, and I actually had it written down as well. And since a lot of people had already brought it up, I think it's best for me to bring it up now. And
Is it food ordering?
No, it's about freelancers. I do have something for food as well, but
you had me worried there. Okay.
Yeah. So since we're just sharing one idea, I'm going to bring up that was already brought up yesterday by other women. This is basically for freelancers because like Upwork, Fiverr, etc. I believe we don't have anything that is there in Bahrain for a lot of graphic designers, photographers, freelancers in the arts community who are, you know, they are out there, and it's very uncertain, the job market over here for them in Bahrain. And I actually do know a couple of them who have come, and I have asked them as well, you know, what would you be, what would you think of the idea of something like that in Bahrain? And they are, you know, totally, they vouch for it, because Bahrain is so small today that even if they put up their work as freelancers, they could have the opportunity to go and meet the person and discuss more in person, because Bahrain is so small that, you know, they would have the chance to meet the employer who would need their services, or they could just do it virtually through the website. So yeah, basically something for freelancers to begin with. So yeah, that's my idea. If it's not clear, I can explain it further, but I hope you got it.
Yeah. So the first question we need to ask ourselves is, all right, what is the core value that we're going to be delivering? It sounds like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're going to be combining people that need some sort of service done. So this could be graphic design, or it could be, I don't know, web design or development or whatever it is, some sort of small gig. So someone who needs something done, and then other people that have skills that can deliver this sort of service, right?
Yes, it's
so you're connecting the two.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so this is the core value, right? You mentioned that, you know, it could potentially be a website, and yeah, that might be the case. But I would question, like, what is, if I wanted to see, okay, you know what? Let's say I have 5 people that are willing to provide services. Let's not talk about hundreds of people. Let's just say, you know, people within your network, you have 5 people, they, you know, have some sort of service that they can offer. They're really good at it. How would you, like, how would you actually start? What do you think might be, let's not talk about, you know, 10 or 100 or 200 or 500 people. We're just talking about 5 people right here that, you know, that have a service that they can offer, and you wanted to help them out. Just sort of manually, you're trying to do them a favor. How would you go about doing that?
I would refer them to certain companies that could, you know, use their services. If we're talking about photographers, graphic designers over here, I would obviously connect them with certain agencies. Or for me, like, if you're talking right now, without any application or website in the picture, I have been in such a situation. So I usually just refer them, and I'm just middlemaning them essentially.
Yeah, and that would be like a WhatsApp message, or maybe
a WhatsApp,
group?
and I share their contact. Okay, yeah. If anything, if you're saying there are like 5 people who are looking for something in the same field, I would probably, you know, make a group. I could do that and help them as and when. But for, I think it would be through WhatsApp. Yeah.
So it sounds like, okay, you know, if you were trying to help out just the first group of people, you could literally just create a WhatsApp group, and then add the people that have maybe a separate WhatsApp group for each skill, right? So if it's graphic design, have like a WhatsApp for graphic designers. And whenever someone wants to post a job or a gig, or you hear about some opportunity, you can just post it to the group, and then whoever is available would be able to respond, right?
Right, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, like that's actually a great way to get started. Like you can actually do this without having to build, you know, an app or a website or anything else. You'd actually be able to validate, you know, if this is something that people would be you're willing to use, and what their feedback would be on the process, which is, you know, very crucial in that early stage, because you might not know, okay, you know, what are the sort of questions that the person who's looking for a service wants to know. Okay, maybe they want to know how old the person is, or where they live,
Yeah.
or what their availability is like. And that's all information that can feed into like your product design when you ultimately develop a product
Yeah.
after you've found like that initial success.
Yes. Yes. That's the thing.
All right,
So
excellent.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I've heard about like a ton of ideas where, sure, maybe a website is a way to go, but there's actually quicker, like less friction. It's a lot easier if I'm just messaging someone on WhatsApp instead of having to sign up to this website and post a job, and then somebody's having trouble connecting and reviewing posts and whatever. Like it can actually cause a lot of friction having this whole full-blown process. Whereas initially you can actually start off in a much more flexible environment. So
The
so thanks for sharing, Pajita. Is
no
there
problem. Sorry, I
is
have a
there
question though. I have a question, and it's actually someone has posted it in the chat as well. It's
mhm.
how would I monetize on something like this? I could keep doing it for people. I could keep, doing favors for them and keep, but I only can do as much, because I have my job, I have my stuff to look after. How would I monetize on just creating groups and channeling people to the right employer that would need their services?
Just use benefit pay or whatever it is.
Okay, so
I
commission
mean, it
based
doesn't.
essentially.
Yeah. I mean, if
Okay.
you're planning on
Okay.
charging a commission base, then just do whatever you do. I mean, it's not going to be, this beautiful interface where you just automatically deduct money from someone. But at the
Okay.
same time, it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't make anything out of it. And again, like I think that's a pretty great way to start with the first 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 orders. And the feedback, like the information that you're going to pull out of this, like just manually doing this process, is going to be so crucial when it comes time to actually build whatever it is that you're trying to build. And so I would definitely not skip that step.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Vegeta.
Thank you.
So let's take two more. Anyone else want to propose an
Hi.
idea, and let's chat through it.
Hi, this is Dina.
Hey, hi there,
Hey.
Dina.
So yeah, actually, my idea was similar as well, like a freelancer one, but mine was more for like lessons, like where people can give online lessons. Like as I was saying yesterday, like my sister and like a lot of people I know, they're actually doing lessons online now on Zoom, whether it's yoga, language lessons, and different things. So yeah, similar concept except giving lessons. And I had thought about maybe just starting it on Instagram. Basically getting, I have a long list of people already that do like lessons online and have some kind of talent skill that, they share anyway online. So
Let me just make sure I get this, Dina. So the idea again is like you're gonna have some people that have skill or talent or just know a topic really well, and then you're gonna have other people that presumably they could be students that need some sort of tutor, or it could be someone who's learning to play the guitar or anything else,
yeah,
someone that needs guidance, and then you would connect the two, right?
yeah, basically.
Okay, all right, cool.
So yeah, I had thought about like starting something like that on Instagram, at least starting with, the people that I know right now. And possibly like having, that person's like have a post for each person with like maybe a little snippet of what they teach, what they're offering. And then it could be like with the timing of what, what time they'll offer the lesson at, how much the lesson costs. And then same thing like with payments, like, started off small, obviously, like benefit pay, PayPal. And then I would provide the link for them. Once they make the payment, I provide the link that will take them to Zoom, kind of thing.
Yeah. So you'd use Instagram in this case as sort of like a catalog, right?
Yeah.
This would just be a way for you to just reach a large number of people. Do you already have like a following on Instagram? Is that why?
I do. I
Okay.
do. but like I said, it's more that I already know a lot of people, you know, like artists, yoga teachers, music,
Yeah.
and they're already kind of giving lessons. Like my sister and a few people, they're giving lessons already on Zoom.
Uh-huh.
And yes, I just kind of wanted to like put a platform together to bring all those people together and have different categories of what lessons they can provide.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say Zoom is probably a really good way to get started with that. And it could even be like there's a number of platforms where it's basically like scheduling. So since these lessons are very, I guess, time bound, right? It's going to be you need to figure out a time that works between the instructor and the person that needs the service, the mentee or whatever it is. So you can actually use there's a service called Calendly. And there's a bunch of these, it's not just Calendly, but it allows you to kind of connect multiple calendars and then find slots that work and then book a slot. And then you'd actually be able to add like a video link into the booking.
Oh, nice.
So that way you really just have to send a link to both parties and then use some sort of existing scheduling software. And yeah, you don't have to do anything. It would take care of like organizing the calendars and just making that booking and adding the link. And you just need to like check in afterwards to make sure that it took place and, you know, collect the payment. So that could actually be a really good way to start.
Sorry, what was the name of that?
Calendly. There's a bunch of them. I don't want to single out Calendly, but I use Calendly for sort of scheduling sessions, and the spelling is CALENDLY .com. Let me see if I can.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. You're welcome. That's a great idea, and I think it's also a really good time to start something like this. And definitely, if you have like connections to people on both sides of that value proposition, then yeah, it's definitely a great way to get started. Let's do one more, and then we'll take it. We'll open it up for questions. But is there one more volunteer that has an idea they want to share?
I have this idea.
Yes. Who is this?
Yeah, Yasmin.
Hi, it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So my
let's hear
idea,
it.
yeah. So my idea is actually with my partner. She'll join the conversation after a while. But yeah. So the idea is to give to create add-ons to gifts. So the idea is that you, like the customer who wants to get an add-on for the gift, that he goes into this website, or it can be application, but we thought of it as a website. So yeah, so they go and choose like, so okay, so first they choose the add-on, and then for each add-on, for example, let's say a gift card. So they choose like the size, the color, the material, and they have so each add-ons has different variables. So eventually you get to have your own customized product.
Okay, so I don't know a lot about this space, so I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions just to understand what would qualify as an add-on, and are you talking about like a physical store or like an online store?
Doesn't matter.
Like I sell flowers. I have a flower shop, and your idea is that I would have some sort of stand next to the cashier where people can just pull up stuff and add it on to their flowers. Is that how it would work?
No, the idea is that we design the like the things that are in the add-ons. Like for example, the illustrations and typography, and like we design the things. So it's mostly online. It's not just something that you pick and you put on
Okay.
it. So it's different for each one. So
You
there are
design
many.
them.
Yeah, we design them.
They're custom. They're custom made.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not completely getting it. So, give me an example of a website. Like I go to website, and then how would I interact with this add-on thing? I'm still
Okay.
struggling to just see
Yeah,
what an
it's
add-on is, because the word maybe add-on is just kind of it's too generic.
okay. So for example, you have a book and you want to give this book for a friend, but you
Mhm.
just want to wrap it in a like unique way that makes it personalized for that person. Okay,
Okay.
so you go into the website, you choose, like, for example, I just want a wrapping paper. So you choose the wrapping paper. So that's the first step. Then the second step, you have all of these options. So you choose the size, the material of the wrapping paper, or not the size actually for wrapping paper.
Mhm.
You choose like what type of illustrations do you want to be, do you want it to be included in on the wrapping paper? What
Yeah.
text? So eventually there will be, it will be kind of like simulated, and you will see the product, the final wrapping paper with everything that you have chosen, and then you will order it. So we will, on our side, we will do this like production of this certain type of add-on.
Cool. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that makes total sense. So okay. How would you build it? I mean, so this kind of sounds like so I'm going to assume it's going to be online, right? Because if it's offline, it's probably pretty straightforward. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, you'd need some way of figuring out what requirements the people have. Like, I don't know, the way that they can personalize, say, the gift wrap is maybe, I don't know, picking from a bunch of patterns or adding some sort of unique pattern themselves. But I would say, like, there's actually this, let me see if I can open it up here. There's this website called Airtable. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I
It's basically
haven't.
like, yeah, it's basically like Google Sheets, but it's kind of fancier. So
Okay.
it allows you to upload images. It also allows you to pick from various questions. There's another one called
I'm sorry, hold the first one.
Airtable, Airtable. It's this website right here. And then there's a other one called Form. Trying to remember Form Barcelona, something like that. There's this form, Typeform, yeah, Typeform. Amazing, like it's a really simple way for people to kind of create custom forms, but they don't even look like forms. They look so fancy, and they're animated and everything. And so this is actually a really easy way to kind of get started, especially for customized things, customized products like what you described. So you could literally get like a type form up and running in 5 minutes. And this is something that you can share with people. You'd get a link, and then people would be able to like place an order directly. So definitely check that out, Typeform or Airtable. These tools are just so easy to get started with, and you don't need any technical ability whatsoever.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
That's a great idea. And yeah, again, like I think you'd be able to get pretty far pretty quickly without having to spend a ton of time building or developing product. So hopefully, so thanks for sharing that, by the way. So hopefully after a couple of these examples, you've got an idea for how you can take something that could seem pretty big to begin with, and just boil it down, narrow down the scope to what really matters, and start focusing on those conversations with customers, trying to get orders, trying to get people to pay you. At the end of the day, like, in a lot of cases, people are not paying for the product itself. They're paying for the value that you're providing. So it's crucial that you understand what it is that you're providing and who you're providing it for. So again, what we talked about yesterday, who am I trying to help? What is the problem that I'm trying to solve for them? It's not that, usually it's not the product itself. And so unless you're building like, the next Call of Duty or something like this amazing game, that is what matters to people. Like the product itself is what matters. Unless that's the case, then I wouldn't spend too much time worrying about the product. You want to pick out minimum that you need to build in order to make people happy and people willing to pay you. So that's it. I don't know if anybody's raised their hand or if anyone has any questions right now on this topic or any of the previous topics that we talked about before we start doing some activities together. Any questions?
Hi, Yazin. I have a question. My name is Layal. So
Hey,
to create a prototype, does it have to make you money? Like, do you have to kind of have the intention of making money, or is it okay if you kind of create something and sort of like sacrifice some of your own funds just to get information and see if people want to use this product? So it's not necessarily for the purpose of actually making money.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely choose not to make money if you want, but I mean, so I would say like it depends. You certainly need to be thinking about what it is that you are going to make money from. I mean, there's some business models where you're not going to make money directly from a paying customer, and advertising is a popular one. And
Yeah,
Google
that's what I was
search.
thinking for ideas of if it's sort of more, yeah, so like advertising, or if the money is kind of coming from like a supplier or something that you don't really have the kind of resources to do right now, but also you don't want to spend all this money creating an app when at the end of the day people are not going to use it.
Yeah. Yeah, which is why you probably don't want to make the app from day one. So yeah, I'd say it depends. I mean, you can choose not to charge, but those business models, I mean, they work at scale. So there's a risk of you never actually reaching the point where you have enough scale to make money. And also, if you're not funded, then it could be a while before you're able to cover your own expenses. And so that's the worry, is like you pursue this sort of business model without like a clear path to monetization early on. See what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, got it.
This is okay. Like, this is okay to do. In fact, it's more than okay. I actually have this. We do this with my company. It's Ask Amal. We have this app which lets people manage their money, and so you can connect to your bank accounts, and then you'd be able to see your spending, and it will highlight fees. So we do this too. The app itself is going to be free to consumers, but the way we would actually make money is from referrals to financial products. So we would go to banks and we'd say, hey, we'll get you like the perfect customer to sign up for your credit card, and they meet all of your requirements. And that's how we'll make money. We'll make money off referral fees. But the point is, like, we have a bit of money, we're funded, so you don't have to worry like early on about how you're going to pay employees, how you're going to pay salaries, because you have quite a bit of funding. So it kind of dictates like how you're going to set up the company. Because if you're just working on your own and you're just sort of spending your days and nights building this, you probably want a quick way to start making money, versus if you have funding and you have investors and you're okay with waiting out 6 months or 12 months or 18 months until you actually get thousands of users and you're able to monetize. All right, any other questions? Thanks, Leah.
Hi. Thanks so far for this. It's been very helpful. So my question is not related to this specifically, like starting up a business per se, but just this entrepreneur life and running a startup, and maybe running a startup whilst you have another job or you have other responsibilities. Like, I'm just wondering if you have any advice or experience on how to manage things, how to optimize your sleep, your life, stress management, things related to these things.
Yeah. So it's probably going to depend a lot on the person themselves. So, if you're a student or you haven't graduated yet, or you just graduated, no responsibilities, your tolerance for pain is probably going to be higher than someone who's got a lot of responsibilities, who's got kids, who's got a day job. So I would say it varies a lot. I don't think there's any like generic advice, but also I would just say, like, the decisions that you make early on should take into consideration all of these things, like your present circumstances. I mean, if you have responsibilities, you have kids, you have a day job, and you need you don't have a ton of savings, and you need to have income, then it's probably a good idea to start with a business that would make you money, maybe even on the side initially until you switch over full time, or a business where you get an investor on board, and then you would be able to pay yourself a salary. So definitely consider that early on.
Yeah, and with regards to businesses that get funding, does that usually give the co-founders enough money to be able to dedicate themselves full time and not have to worry about working another job?
Yeah, absolutely. It should. Like, that should be dictated as part of the funding terms, is that you're going to pay yourself a salary, because there's no point taking on funding and then spending your whole day trying to make money, because that's besides the point.
It's not minimums though, right? Like, you're not going to live on canned food. It's not going to be like minimum wage salary.
So yeah, it's going to depend on like your negotiation skills.
Okay, but
but
possible to get paid well? Like, can you mention numbers? Like, what's the range? Like, if
you should get paid like whatever you would get paid as at a day job.
As
like,
a job.
It's not going to be excessive, but it's also not going to be like minimum wage. It should be like any other job.
Like, would they pay 1,500 dinars a month in Bahrain? That would be the salary
possibly.
of a middle manager. It's possible to get paid that while you're doing a startup if you get funded. Okay, that's great to know. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Cheers.
All right, cool. So let's see. All right, so if there are no other questions, I want to dive right into exercise.
Can I interrupt? One more question, please?
Okay. All right, let's take one more question.
Yeah, just this. What's the minimum criteria for getting funded? Like, if you have an idea and the prototype and everything, is this enough, or is there any other additional criteria to get the funding?
So I kind of hinted at this earlier. I think so. You're going to have different investors with different like risk appetites, and you're going to have some investors that write checks early on, some investors that write checks later. But I think this whole discussion around investors is probably premature if you're at the idea stage. And the best way to get investors is if you don't need them. It kind of sounds ridiculous, but that's the best time. That's when you're going to get the best terms with investors. That's when you're going to have investors run after you instead of the opposite. So if you can demonstrate continuous growth, like even if it's small, even if it's like, oh, we had 10 lessons booked on our platform, and then the week after that it was 15, the week after that was 25, and then 50 and 100. If you can just demonstrate growth after a couple of months, like it would be so obvious to anyone that this thing is going to take off. And so that's why, like, I don't want to get into like investment, because you're gonna find some investors that would be okay with just giving you money and then having you just sort of figure it out. But I think those are the exception. For most people, they're going to need some demonstration that you're actually capable of creating, something of value to at least a small number of people. So that's why focusing on customers is the best thing that you can do early on.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so exercise time. What we're going to do now is we're going to pair up and we're going to try the breakout thing just like we did yesterday. But now what we're going to do is we're not going to do twos. We're probably going to do threes or fours. So we're going to do breakout rooms. And for those of you that are not familiar, essentially what this means is like this meeting will break up into smaller meetings and you will be assigned to a group. And that group would probably have 2 or 3 other people. So about 4 people in each group. And I want you to discuss ways that you can find the absolute minimum version of each of your ideas. So take turns, come up with one idea that you really think, okay, this is something that I want to work on. And so take that idea and discuss it as part of the group and try to figure out what would the minimum version of that idea look like. And then once you're done in about 15 minutes, we'll report back to the group and kind of discuss some of the ideas that come out of this. So let's see. I'm going to start doing this breakout thing now. All right, so I think 4 groups of 4 are a good way to go about doing this. And so you should see that within the next few seconds, you're going to be assigned to a group and you can start discussing your ideas as part of the group. All right. Can anyone hear me? Hey everyone, welcome back. So I'm not really sure if the rest of the rooms have been closed yet. Oh, I think they have. Can everybody hear me? Can just let me know that you can still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, it actually worked. Wow. Okay, great. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. All right, so how was that? Like, how was I'm not really sure what's going on. This hide floating meeting controls. Okay, just a bit of a technical glitch there. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear from some of the people that had a chance to discuss their ideas. How were you able to take your original idea and sort of bring it down to a simpler, sort of narrower, more focused idea? So let's hear from a few of the people that we haven't heard of so far. Some new ideas, maybe. Any takers?
Hi, Yazin. It's
Hey.
Layal.
Hi, Leanne.
So my group and I discussed an idea that I had. Basically, when the idea is when I used to work in my last company, my coworkers and I every day for lunch would kind of discuss like what should we order, and it was always kind of like indecisive. So the idea that I had was, what if we had this like app or somewhere where you can just kind of go on the app, it kind of collects all of the different restaurants from like Talabat and Carriage and all the food delivery apps, and you can just kind of like randomize, and it gives you a random restaurant and you're like good to go. And another idea was to kind of add filters to it. So let's say you were like thinking of having a certain type of cuisine, so you can kind of filter it by cuisine type, and it kind of gives you a bunch of different options. The girls in the group also suggested that the app could also collect information on your preferences. So like the more restaurants that you kind of, you can like maybe rate them, or like the more options that you pick, it kind of narrows it down to those ones, or like more likely picks those than others. So that was kind of the idea. And so we thought that maybe for like a minimum version would be like a WhatsApp chatbot. So you can kind of text a number, and it gives you the auto replies. So you kind of give it a one-word answer, like a two-word answer, and then based on that, it kind of I guess gives you a randomized option. And then we thought of maybe using those websites that you can manually, so some of the influencers or whatever, they kind of use those websites where you can manually enter options, and you click a button and it randomizes one of the options for you. So I thought of kind of combining a few things to create a.
Oh yeah, you're actually gonna love the next section because when it comes time to actually build something, which is the section right after this, I'm going to show you how you can actually build something that looks pretty cool and does something similar to what you were describing. So
cool.
there's actually a way that you can create something. Just because it's small doesn't mean it has to look disgusting, and it's something that no one would use, or it's very clunky and frictionful. You can actually make something that's pretty good and also quick to get up and running. So we'll take a look at how to do that. But I actually love this idea. I think there's so many things that can be done in the food space, and we're still pretty early. We were talking earlier about Bahrain and how, yeah, there's a lot of opportunity here. There's some people that just complain about how, oh, we don't have this app or that app or whatever else app. But yeah, I think it's people like you who would see it as an opportunity. Okay, we don't have it, but we can create it. Maybe there's something there. Cool. So let's take one more and then just continue so that we can make it on time. Is there any other person that just wants to share their idea and the narrow, boiled down version of the idea? All right. No one else. Okay. All right, cool. So here's what we can do. We'll take a really quick break, 5 minutes. It's actually gonna be less than 5 minutes. So we'll be back at 9:45. So just 3 minutes, just enough to like get a water or get a tea or whatever it is. And then we'll continue with the last part of this workshop, which is actually building something. So 3 minutes and we're back at exactly 9:45. And we're back. It's 9:45. All right. Hope everyone's back and refreshed. So moving on to the last part of this workshop, which is actually building the idea. So far we've been talking a lot about customers and the idea and boiling it down and making sure that it's a real problem and not a fake problem. Now's the time where we actually get to building something. And then here's the part where people just automatically think, so I probably need to hire a coder at this point, right? And the answer is no, you don't need to hire a coder. And in fact, we're actually going to be building a prototype right now, with zero code and in 30 minutes. So over the course of the coming 45 minutes, I'm going to show you a quick demo of how to build your own prototype and try and give you a chance to put something together in the next 30 minutes. So that's a tall order, but we're going to go through a couple of tools that are going to help you out. So there's this entire category of tools called no-code tools. And like there's a site called nocode.tech, and there's actually a bunch of them. So if you just Google no code, you're going to find a ton of these tools. And some of my favorites, there's like Google Forms, Airtable, I mentioned earlier, Typeform. There's also Shopify, Webflow, Bubble.io, Glide Apps, another one of my favorites. Figma is really good for designing and doing prototyping, and then IFTTT and Zapier. So these are some of the examples of tools that allow you to put together things really quickly, and that would actually be perfect for people that are not technical and that want to build a product. And so with none of these tools do you require a coder. You can actually put them together even if you don't have any technical experience. And so that's what I want to do now, is just take one of these tools and show you a quick demo for how we can put together an app ourselves, okay? Here's the example. We're going to be building a booking.com, okay? So a way for you to actually create like a simple app-like page where people can see a bunch of hotels and then they'd be able to make a booking, okay? And I want to do this in the next, say, 10 or 15 minutes. So let's not waste any time. I'm going to go ahead and try and get started on this right now. So let me close my screen. I'd recommend you pay attention, but again, like this is something that you can actually do yourself too. If you want to follow along, you're going to have a chance to do that in the next part of this this workshop. So just follow along, watch what I'm doing now, and then you'll get a chance to do it yourself. So we're going to be using, for this, we're going to be using this tool called Glide. And Glide is amazing because it turns a Google Sheet, which is kind of like Excel, for those of you that have not used Google Sheets before. It'll create an app from a Google Sheet. And that just sounds like very ridiculous, but I'm going to show you how we can actually make this work. So I'm going to start a Google Sheet right now. This is my Google Sheet. It looks very similar to Excel. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it booking.com or booking2.com, right? Booking.com is already taken. So I'm going to give it a, let's say, so for my first sheet, I'm just going to create a list of hotels. Okay, so I'm going to have a header for the hotel name. And then let's just create, we'll call this hotels. So I just want to make sure, can everybody see my screen? Just let me know that you can. It'd be horrible if I went through this whole thing.
Yes.
And all right, great. Wonderful. So hotel name, what do we need to know? We probably need to know how many stars the hotel is. Maybe know the price per night. Or let's just call it price. And then what else would we need to know? Maybe the address. Oh, it'd also be nice to have an image of the hotel. I think, yeah, maybe this is a good place to start. And now what we'll do is we'll populate a bunch of hotels. And so we can just go to the real booking.com and then I'm gonna try and see. All right, there we go. So let's see if we can find hotels in Bahrain. All right, there we go. So a couple of nice options here. We're going to go ahead and copy them. So we'll take the first one, Sofitel Bahrain, go back to our sheet and paste the name in there. All right, so that's 5 stars. The price, all right, the price is probably going to be varying based on various things, but I'm just going to put any date here. Running out of time here. All right, cool. So 147. All right, let's just put like 80 BD. All right, and then the address, just gonna click on that one and maybe get 2 more as well. So we'll get that one too. We'll just go ahead and kind of populate it with like 3 of them just to get by. I'm gonna spend too much time on this. So that is the address right there. Let's put that in. And then for the image, we're just gonna take like maybe this image right here and copy image location. So we'll put that in there. So that's it. That is one entry for a hotel. And I'm gonna do this for a couple more. So we're gonna do this for the Wyndham. Again, this is like exactly like an Excel sheet, right? I'm not doing anything special here. This guy's 5 stars too. And then check out the price. All right, 99, that's about 50 BD. And get the address. So you just get all these details. These are things that you would probably do yourself manually as you're kind of starting off this process. Oh, closed it without getting the image. All right, so let's get the image there. Copy image location. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing for that last hotel, the Swiss Belle Hotel. So again, this is like the minimum information that you would need. Is it 5 stars? Yeah, it's 5 stars. Yeah, there's a lot of 5-star hotels. Okay. All right, so that's the address and the price. All right, the price is 57. Oh, it's not too bad. All right, so that's about 30 BD. And finally, we'll pull an image in. All right, that's not a very flattering image, but okay. All right, so that's our image right there. Wonderful. So we've got a list of hotels here, and this is the basic building block for the app that we want to build. So I'm going to go back to Glide. Here, you just sign in and you create an account. And then we say we're going to create an app from a Google Sheet, and we're going to pick our booking2.com. That's the Google Sheet that I just created over here. And so it shows me this. So see what happened there? Like, it just pulled in all of the information that I had in my sheet, and it put it in this fancy looking app list. So that looks pretty cool, but that's not it. You can actually customize all of this information. So I can go back to the list and I can say, all right, I want to include a caption for the address, for instance, and suddenly it looks like that. Oh, maybe I want to do tiles. So now it looks a bit more fancy and the image is right front and center. Maybe I want to do like a details view and pick one of the hotels. But we're probably going to go with like a cards view. This is how like apps typically work, is you would have some sort of primary list and you'd be able to put like, okay, so maybe the header would be price. Okay, that looks pretty sweet. The image is the URL. The image shape looks like that. You can also make square images if that's your thing. I mean, it allows you to do a ton of customization. And then you can also change, all right, do you want a border or a shadow? Whatever, we'll just keep it as it is. Now, so when you click on any one of these, it will take you to a detail screen where you'd actually be able to see details about this specific one. And then what we want to do is we want to create a booking. So the whole point of this app is that we can create a booking. So let's go ahead and add a button in here. Okay, no, we're going to add a form button. All right, and we're going to call it book now. Right. All right. That's starting to look more like a proper app, isn't it? But anyway, like before we can actually do the booking, we need to have another sheet where we can collect customer information. So I'm gonna go back to my sheet over here and I'm gonna create another sheet and I'm gonna call it bookings. And here we'll probably need to know the name of the person and then maybe their email address. We also need to know when they're gonna make the booking, the from and the to. And then what else do we need to know? Probably their phone number, just so that we can contact them in case we need to.
Maybe
So,
number of the individuals too.
yeah, it's a great idea. Number of individuals, so persons.
Sorry, is this the backend information?
Yes. So right now for our bookings, we're just going to create an empty sheet. We don't have any bookings, right? And so what's going to happen is what we want is when people click on the book now, this sheet automatically gets updated. That's what we want to do. So we're going to have our hotels. These we populate ourselves. We would find, some way of getting hotel information, adding it to our app. And then when people place bookings, we would be able to see their information and maybe call them up and manually do the booking for them. So we want to create essentially a middleman, an alternative to booking.com. So let's see. All right, we've got that taken care of. We go back to data, and here we just need to do a quick refresh to make sure that it reload sheet. So let's just do reload sheet so that it can pick up the new sheet that we just created. So you can see that there's bookings right here as well now. So we go back to our layout, and here we click on book now. This opens up a form. Of course, we don't want to hit the hotel sheet, we want to hit the bookings sheet. So you can see that it's already picked up all of the fields that we created. So we're going to collect their name. We're going to have the person enter their email address. An email address is actually a special field because we can go back to the app and we can say, all right, we want this app to require sign-in. So when you first open up the app, we're going to require that you sign in with some sort of email, and maybe even allow people to sign in with like a Google account. And this would be great because now it means that we would know their email address automatically. They don't have to enter their email address each time. So we go back to this place over here, and instead of doing email this way, all we would do is delete the email entry and then add another one called email. And there's a special value called email. This automatically picks up the user's email. So we can actually get their email in the sheet without them having to manually enter it because we've already asked them for the email when they signed up. Also, real quick, we have a couple of minutes left. I'm going to remove the from entry because it's not going to be a text entry. It's going to be a date entry. So I'm going to pick date for, okay, it's not going to be for email. It's going to be for from. And then I'm going to do the same, and that's definitely going to be a required field. And I'm going to do the same for the to date. So let's remove that, and then we're going to create another date, and we're going to put that as to, and that's also going to be a required field. And so there you go. Like when I click on from, it's going to ask me for a date. When I click on to, it's also going to ask me for a date. So let's say I'm going to go from the 20th to the 21st, and that's it. That's your date. And so I can enter my name, my phone number, 2 people or whatever it is, 3 people. And then, I'd be able to actually submit the form. So let's go ahead and try doing a submit over here. Sent. Come back over here. You can see all my details right here. That's it. Like, this is literally, okay, that was exactly like 15 minutes. It's less than 15 minutes. The beauty of this is that you can add additional features. There's a bunch of stuff that I didn't show you, which is you have a search bar. You also have the ability to add filters. So you can say, all right, I want to show certain filters. The beauty of this is also that I can add additional tabs. We didn't talk about this, but we can add a tab for, we can add an additional tab for bookings, so that people can see what bookings they've made. So now suddenly your app allows them to book hotels. So let me just remove the filter that I added over here. All right, remove that filter. So you can see that now I can see the bookings that I've made, and I can also see the hotels that are listed. So this is starting to look like a really, really professional app. And we literally just created this in like 10 minutes. This is amazing because now I can just publish my app and I would get a link that anybody, so here's my new link. Anybody can open up this link and they'd be able to start using the app on their phone. Boom. This is booking 2 that I just created. So that's what I wanted to show you, give you an idea for how you can create something really quick in 15 minutes and still be able to have something that looks really professional and polished. So this is one of the tools. There's actually a bunch of other tools that I was telling you about, and I would definitely recommend that you start exploring some of these on your own. But for now, what we'll do is we'll do another breakup. And I don't know if all of you have laptops or some of you are checking in on the phone, but we'll do groups of say 4 or 5. Actually, before that, are there any questions? Does anybody have any questions about what I just showed you?
Yazin?
Yep.
Hi, this is Zainab again. Can you
Hi, Zainab.
add a payment option on the app, or like would it allow you to do that?
I think it's available in the Pro version, but I'm not sure. We can actually check. We're kind of running low on time, but you can definitely check. I think it's available on the Pro option, but you probably wouldn't have local payment options. You probably have to use something like Stripe. But honestly, even if you had to do this manually, which might be the case, it's like you're collecting their information, be able to communicate with them, and then collect payments separately, either via benefit pay or some other payment method, before like confirming the booking, since you have to do the booking manually anyway.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Yes, speaking.
Sorry, who is this?
Ruwaida.
Hi, Ruwaida.
I just want to ask you, this glide is free of charge?
Yes, the version that has branding, so they would show you powered by Glide and various other plugs to Glide itself. That's free, but you can probably pay. I think it's like $9 a month for the Pro version, so it's not very expensive for the the complete version.
So when you want to have the complete version, you have to pay something more.
Yeah, but again, like I don't know how much it is, but it's really cheap. Like it's definitely much cheaper than anything you would have to pay to even start talking to a developer. So yeah, you're probably looking at a few BD a month for the Pro version, if you want to do like the Pro version.
And it's easy to visit and revisit and do whatever you want with them, because probably from the beginning you will not be able to put everything you want.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can literally just add columns and then you would add new features to the app. That is the most amazing part about this whole thing, is you can get up and running really, really quickly, and you can change really, really quickly as well.
And it goes to, after that, the application is ready and goes to Apple and...
No. So this is a web app. It's not an actual app. So they don't,
okay.
I don't think they currently generate like an actual app. So you would get a link, and then you can send that link via WhatsApp or whatever it is. The person that clicks on it would be able to open up in their browser, and then they would get prompted to add it to the home screen. So when you add it to the home screen, you can click on it and it looks like an app, and when you click on it, it opens up in like full screen and not a browser, and it looks like an app, but it's actually just like a really nice website.
Do we have to do any security thing related?
No,
or
they take care of all that. No, they take care of the login and maintaining passwords and doing forgot your password, and all of that is taken care of by Glide.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
Yeah, definitely check it out. Like I just want to open your eyes to the possibility that there are tools out there that can help you get up and running really, really quickly. And that's why I took this example. There's a ton more examples. Some of these are in the list, some of my favorites, but there's so much that you can do without writing any code. And so I just want to open your eyes to that possibility. And this is coming from someone who knows how to code. So I spend a lot of time actually doing code, but you definitely don't need to in order to get started. I'm gonna ask you guys to start off now with the exercise. So again, we're gonna pair up not twos, but probably again fours. And I want at least one person to have a laptop, and maybe they can share their screen or work together with the group to actually get this done. We want to do it in about 20 minutes, so so we have enough time to sort of review after that. And I know there's probably going to be some questions along the way. So let's do a breakout for 20 minutes now, and we will have groups of 4, hopefully at least one person with a laptop. If you don't, then just message me, and then just discuss the project and try and work together on making one of the ideas, at least implementing one of the ideas together. And maybe we can do a quick show and tell at the end to see what you guys came up with. So I'll go ahead and start the breakout rooms in just a moment. Oh, they're already taking care. Let's see. Right, recreate all. All right, you'll be switching over to the breakout rooms in just a moment.
Hello. Can anyone hear me?
Hey.
Oh, hi, Janan.
Hi. Who is this?
This is Jamila.
Hi, Jamila.
How are you?
I'm good.
So we are like 8 on this room, or how many are we in this room?
I guess so. I don't think this is actually a breakout room. This is the main one. So I'll ask Yazin if he can add you to a room. Hey, Yazin, can you hear me?
Yeah, hey, Gina.
So there's someone here called Jamila who's out without a breakout room.
Okay. So I'm just gonna assign her to one of the breakout rooms.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me just figure out how to do that.
Okay.
All right, you should see a notice and then just accept accept the invite to join the breakout room.
I think she's gone.
Yeah. For some reason, it looks like I don't know. I spoke to two groups so far, and it looks like no one's got a laptop. So I'm just gonna cut this a bit short. Maybe do like another 5 minutes, and then we'll just bring everyone back.
No problem. I also think that the demonstration that you showed is actually quite good. A lot of people in the comments were actually surprised about how easy it is to actually create an app. So I think that's a good thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great if they could do it now, but even if they can't, at least they'd be able to go back and do it some other time. All right, I'm gonna switch to one of the breakout rooms and see what's going on. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Just make sure we've got everyone here. Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, wonderful. So I'm not really sure how far you were able to get with the exercise. I know a lot of people didn't have laptops, so they might not have been able to do a whole lot. But let's see if anybody has anybody actually been able to put something together real quick, even if it's just a sheet. Like it doesn't have to be like a fully built prototype, just a sheet. Or
So we have
Yazin.
we have one we have a link. I mean, there's not much on it, but we have a link for.
Oh, no way! Like an actual link.
Yeah.
Please send us the link. Let's
All right,
check it out.
Sent it over.
All right. I'm going to share my screen, and then we'll open up the link and take a look. All right, there we go. Restaurants. Okay, that's very nice. So I see a list of restaurants, and then I can click on a restaurant and see contact details and their timings.
So this was supposed to be for the restaurant picker, the randomizer. We haven't gotten to that step yet, but I mean, we have one sheet down, so we have the basic information of the restaurants.
Yeah. No, I like it. This is great. You were able to do this in like 10 minutes. This is amazing. I would also suggest you can, there are ways that you can like scrape information to get like a lot of information instead of you having to do this like manually for each restaurant. You can actually like use, I don't remember what it's called. I think it's import IO. Oh yeah, there's import IO. There's a bunch of them, which allows you to scale. No, it wasn't import IO. This is not it. Anyway, I'll send this to you maybe separately. Yeah, it's probably webscraper.io API. There are so many of these that allow you to extract data from websites. So if you wanted to do a booking.com or you wanted to do like a Talabat or whatever it is, you can actually extract data pretty easily using one of these solutions. And then you'd be able to add it to the Google Sheet, and then you'd have a more comprehensive app. So just don't think that you have to do this manually if you wanted to build like a proper prototype.
Would these websites or tools kind of also categorize them for you? So like if I were to pull out this information from Talabat, would it give me like the restaurant name and kind of use all the different, okay, cool.
Yeah, you can collect any data that's being displayed, you can collect yourself.
All right, awesome.
So yeah. Is there anyone else that managed to put something together? Yeah, nice work, by the way.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Wait, what? Why is everyone thanking me all of a sudden?
Because we are one team.
Oh, okay. I thought people were gonna leave.
Hello. Hi, Yazin. Hi,
Hey.
Yazin. Hi. Actually, I don't know I'm the only one here, or we are. My group is the only one that forgot totally how to start with it. Like we forgot totally how you get into getting that Excel sheet, because that is the starting point here. But no one among us can remember that. Can you just show that to us again? I'm sorry for that.
Yeah. So we don't have time to go through the entire thing again, but essentially you start with
just the starting point.
Google Sheet. Yeah, you just start with a Google Sheet. If you're not familiar with, have you used Google Sheets before?
No, just a normal spreadsheet.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar. Like, it's not very different. But that's probably a better starting point, is just try and get familiar with Google Sheets. This is, if you head to glideapps.com, I'm not sure if you checked it out, but if you head to glideapps.com, then it would actually show you how to do the setup. So you can create the Google Sheet from
So
within
it's exactly
Glide Apps.
there. Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's within,
Yeah,
if you
thank you
head
so
to
much.
glideapps.com, you hit get started, you'd actually be able to create a sheet from within the app. So you don't have to have an existing app yourself.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so so there's one more thing I wanted to cover before we wrap up this session. We're just at about 10:30 now, but there's one more thing. And I mentioned this pretty early on, but your goal from this entire thing, this 2-day workshop, and hopefully the beginning of a much longer journey where you pursue these ideas that you have. Your goal is to find the right combination of a customer, a product, so some sort of solution to a problem that that customer has, and a channel. Channel we haven't talked about yet. It's basically how you reach customers. And so you can think of it as like a slot machine, and you can vary, like any individual idea, you can vary any one of these three things, and it would actually completely change the idea. And so if you had, for example, the idea for a student discount, a student discount app, right? So students would be able to sign up and they would be able to get discounts on their favorite products. And the channel that you're going to pick is referrals. So students would recommend it to other students. You vary any one of these things, whether it's the product. So obviously, if you're going to vary the product, it's going to change the idea completely. But also, if you vary the customer, it's going to change the idea a whole lot, almost completely as well. So we mentioned the earlier example with Talabat. Talabat provides food delivery for individuals through an app, right? Primarily through an app. But if you vary any one of these things, if you decide, okay, it's going to be food delivery for employees through an app, the idea has changed, right? Now you need to have a completely different solution. The requirements are different. You know, employees maybe tend to order for the entire week up front, or you can have, you know, a discount if a whole lot of people from within the same office building place an order. So your job is to find out the winning combination, and you find the winning combination through experimentation. And so that's why, like, this emphasis on getting things done really quickly is so important, because if you're able to do things quickly, test them out, see if it's working, and then if it's not working, you test something else out. If you're able to do this quickly, then you're much more likely to find the right combination, you know, instead of you just sort of stumbling on it randomly. And so that's what I want to leave you with. If you can get 100 customers, so take the same approach, take any of your ideas and just get to 100 customers or 1,000 BD in sales, maybe 100 customers, 10 BD each. And if you can get to that point, then you're well on your way to starting an actual company. So you don't have to like create this really high bar where, you know, you're going to try and dominate the entire restaurant industry. Just focus on getting 100 customers. And 100 customers are just 10 customers times 10. So 10 customers over the course of 10 weeks, or 10 customers over the course of 10 days, whatever it is. Find, you know, that low target. If you can meet 1,000 BD in revenue for your idea, then it's no longer an idea. You're actually well on your way to starting an actual company. And of course, then, you know, it's time to learn about all of these other things that you need to learn. Registering a company, paying tax, customer acquisition, fundraising, operations, and all sorts of other things. But you don't have to worry about any of those things right now. Just focus on getting customers and, you know, getting those early customers, learning from the experience, and everything else you'll sort of figure out down the road when you need to. All right. One final note before we wrap up on mentorships. So there's a couple of mentorships sessions that we're going to be offering after this workshop. So if you want to do like a deep dive with me on your specific idea, and you know, you want to take it to the next level, you want to actually implement your idea, take it seriously, then all you need to do is answer these two questions, question 1 and question 2. Tell us more about your startup idea or business, and what are the biggest obstacles or challenges that you're facing right now. So just answer those 2 quick questions, send them by email to workshops@startupmgzn.com, and they'll connect you with me so we can set up some mentorship sessions. So try and do that over the course of the coming few weeks. So we have 2 weeks or so. And so, yeah, if you want to spend more time with me so we can go through your idea, definitely shoot them an email. Internships. So if you're not prepared to sort of break out on your own just yet, a good way to learn is to join like a tech company and try and learn from how things work on the inside. So there are a bunch of opportunities for internships with various tech companies in Bahrain. And so if you're interested in applying, just hit workshops@startupmgzn.com. Again, the same email. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We are done with the 2-day workshop. I hope that this was helpful. Janan, Sarah, I don't know if you have any comments to add before we close.
Just thank you everyone for joining. We really hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to send any feedback that you have to us. We'll also be sending you an email about more details of the mentorship sessions and the internships in case you're interested. So just look forward to that. There's also going to be a few follow-ups workshops happening throughout the year. We're gonna have another one like this, but would continue Yazin's workshop in a way. So I recommend you join that one as well. Just keep an eye on Startup Magazine's Instagram and social media channels for more details on that. Or you can visit the workshops page on the website.
All right, thanks, Janan. Well, I had a ton of fun with this workshop, and I hope you guys were able to learn a thing or two. And I wish you all the best of luck.
Thanks, Yazin.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.